Hello friends and welcome to DigiiMento. Today we will be continuing with yesterday's lecture. So before that, this is DigiiMento and we are providing you coaching for GATE, NTA UGC NET and PGT Computer Science. So you can avail our courses, and also for more details you can visit our website www.digimento.com, or you can make a call to any of these numbers for more information. So yesterday what we did was we got familiarized with the syllabus. So I told you yesterday that I'll be taking Unit 9 first. Unit 9, People Development and Environment. I'm just briefing it in just 1 minute for those who have not attended the classes yesterday. So we got familiarized with the syllabus. You can quickly glance through the syllabus, which we have in brief looked into yesterday. So these are the various topics that comes under your Unit 9, which I'll be dealing in detail. So I was explaining to you the syllabus. I made you all familiar with the syllabus, and this is only for those who have not attended the classes yesterday. So yesterday we have discussed all these in some brief, and today what we will be doing is we will be learning some of the important terms and terminologies which are related to ecology and environment. So some terms and terminologies we will see. Why we are doing this is because basically before we start with the actual syllabus, it's very important that you are familiar with some terms that are very common in ecology, some important key terms and terminologies. So this will help you understand the syllabus better, especially because many of you might be coming from different backgrounds. So yesterday I was explaining to you the entire pattern of the examination, how the NET examination is conducted, NTA NET, how it is conducted and all. So paper 1 is common for everyone. Whichever stream you belong to, whichever is your subject of expertise, you have to attend the paper 1, and it is compulsory and it's common for everyone. So most of you who do not have a background in ecology and environment, and I'm sure only very few people will be having a background in ecology and environment, it's very important. First you need to understand the key terms and terminologies. Only then learning the subject or learning whatever is included in your syllabus will be easy. Otherwise it's like you will feel like it's very difficult, and then there is a tendency you can skip it. So to avoid that, I will help you to familiarize some of the key terms and terminologies which we will be doing today. If you have any doubts, you can message me in the live chat. I will answer to your queries and doubts. So let's begin with first term is ecology itself. So ecology, what is meant by ecology? Ecology is the scientific study of relationship of the living organisms with each other and the environment. So it is the scientific study, and what is studied in ecology? The relationship of living organism. For example, a human being, a man, Homo sapien, and another living organism, a tiger. Suppose these organisms, they live in the same biome, and the relationship between both of this, and also the relationship with their environment. Environment refers to the physical environment as well, like the soil, the climate and everything. So this relationship is studied under ecology. So basically ecology means it's the study of relationship of living organisms with each other. There are many living organisms around us, many living organisms. It can be animals, it can be birds, it can be mammals, it can be reptiles. So many kind of, even microorganisms, they are also living organisms, plants. So relationship of the living organisms with each other and also with their environment. So this is what is called ecology. Now what is a habitat? Habitat means the place where an organism lives. So the place where an organism lives is called its habitat. Now remember that, and keep it in mind, because we will be coming with some other terms like ecological niche. So we have to differentiate between a habitat and a niche. So please remember this term. A habitat is the place where the organism lives. So this is a habitat. Now environment. So environment is the sum total of biotic and abiotic components. Yesterday we have discussed what is meant by a biotic component and what is a abiotic component. Biotic component means anything which has life. So this is a biotic component. So biotic means life. Bio is life. So sum total of biotic and abiotic components. Abiotic components are those components which does not have life. For example, soil, rocks, water. So all these components which does not have life but which are found in an ecology or which are found in an environment. So this is called an environment. That is sum total of biotic and abiotic, which means environment constitutes of both abiotic plus biotic, living and non-living organisms or components that surround an organism forms the environment. Now next term is ecosystem. This is a very important term, ecosystem, and you can expect questions directly. What is an ecosystem? So ecosystem consists of community of living beings and the physical environment which interacts and exchange material between them. Now ecosystem means it's a community of living organisms and the physical environment in which they live. So there will be a community of organisms and also the physical environment in which they live and how they interact with each other and how they exchange materials between them. Now you have to answer me a question, that is we have seen what is an environment. So we have learned what is an environment. We have also seen what is an ecosystem. Now you have to tell me which is the broader term. Can someone tell me who are in the live chat? Can someone tell me? Okay. So environment is broader term, not ecosystem. So environment is a sum total of everything. So environment is a broader term as compared to ecosystem. So this also you have to remember. Environment is broader and ecosystem is a little narrower concept. Now and also we said that you have to remember what is habitat. I told you when I explained to you what is habitat, I told you you have to keep in mind because we'll be coming to another term which is called ecological niche. Now what is meant by an ecological niche and what is the difference between habitat and niche? So ecological niche means the functional role or the status of an organism as a member of a community. So as a member of a community, every single species or every single organism will have a functional role, or we can say a unique role. So every organism will have a unique role to play, and this unique role or the functional role played by the organism is called the niche. So niche is nothing but the functional role that is played by an organism. So the ecological niche refers to the functional role played by an organism as a member of the particular community. Next is biome. So biome, again, biome refers to terrestrial part of this biosphere which are characterized by climate, vegetation, animal life and general soil type. Now before we understand biome, we need to understand what is biosphere. Now what is biosphere? Biosphere refers to that particular part of the earth where life exists. Now we know that we have a atmosphere and we also have a hydrosphere and also we have a lithosphere. So atmosphere is comprising of air, hydrosphere comprising of water and lithosphere land. Now what is biosphere? Biosphere is the part of earth where life exists and which represent an integrated and interacting zone. So biosphere is nothing but a zone where there is life, which means there is an interaction of atmosphere, lithosphere and hydrosphere. So atmosphere refers to air, lithosphere to land and hydrosphere to water. And life exists only where these three components, the air, water and the land, interact with each other, or where there is a coincidence of all these three forms. So this is called biosphere. Now Biosphere means the part of earth or the portion of the earth where life exists. So this is biosphere. Now after understanding biosphere, let's come to what is a biome. So what is a biome? Biome is terrestrial part of the biosphere. So biosphere can be both aquatic as well as terrestrial. Aquatic means water life, life in water, marine resources or marine component of the biosphere, and also there can be a terrestrial part. So terrestrial and aquatic life. Now what is biome? Biome is terrestrial part of the biosphere, and in a biome there will be particular characters. For each biome there will be particular characters like climate, vegetation, animal life, general soil, etc. Now can someone tell me examples of certain biomes? Have you ever heard of any of the biomes? I'm sure when I give you the names you can definitely recollect, but even before that, can someone try telling me some names of different biomes? I'll come to the live chat. Can someone tell me? I told you what is biome, terrestrial part of biosphere, and each biome will have different or some particular characters like climate, vegetation, animal life, etc. will be very different in each biome. So can you give me some examples of biomes? Okay, yeah, Harsha has said oceans. No, Harsha, I told you terrestrial part of the biome. Terrestrial part of the biosphere. Deserts, yes. Nirja, yes, deserts is a type of, yes, forest, not sea because I told you it's terrestrial part of the biosphere, not aquatic. So biome refers to terrestrial part of the biosphere. Can you, forest, Ashwati, yes, forest is a kind of biome, but within that there are like some specific characters. Can you tell me that? Okay, mountains, not exactly, yes, but you are very close to the point. So I'll give you some examples. Deserts is a kind of biome, desert, because in desert what you will see, there is particular climate for deserts. So hot deserts and cold deserts. So for hot deserts there are particular climatic conditions or climatic characteristics which we cannot see in any other form of land. Vegetation, again in deserts we will see that there are very small shrubs and small plants, maybe like cactus. So such type of plants, and animals also we will see that camels. So animals found in or wildlife that is found in the deserts are very different from that of other biomes. And soil in the deserts is sandy soil. So again soil is different. Can you give me another example? I have given you the example of desert. Already someone has already given the, yes, tropical forest, correct. Nirja has again given the example of rainforest, and Shama Parveen also has given this example of rainforest, correct, and tropical forest is also correct. Again, tropical rainforest. So this is a particular biome. So here what are the characters? Can someone comment? What are the characters of tropical rainforest? Rainfall will be very high. Yes, from the name itself it is clear that the rainfall is very high in tropical rainforest. Again, vegetation. What about the vegetation? So high rates of rainfall. Because of high rainfall, can you find many varieties of wildlife? Yes, many varieties of wildlife. So the tropical rainforest, the climate, what is the climatic condition? It's tropical climate. So again, vegetation is different from that of other biomes. Another example is deciduous forest, and deciduous forest is the kind of biome that we can see maximum in India. The kind of forest that is seen maximum in India is deciduous forest. Then again, other examples of biomes, tundra, So all these are examples of biomes. So remember, the terrestrial part of the biosphere and the characters like the climate, the vegetation, animal life, soil, etc. will be different in different biomes. So biomes, why I went into so much of detail is because it's very, very important for your examination. We have to learn them. We will come to the details later. Biosphere also we have seen. Now let's see two very important concepts. One is bioaccumulation and biomagnification. I want all your attention here because these concepts, once you understand, it's very easy. Otherwise, if you just simply go through this, you will not get it. But for understanding these two concepts, one is bioaccumulation, second one is biomagnification. To understand these concepts, first we need to understand the concept of what is called food chain. Have you ever heard of this term food chain? So what is meant by food chain? Again, I'm really bad in writing using the mouse because I have not received my pen tablet because of the lockdown. So please excuse me until I get my pen tablet. Until then, you have to suffer this. I'm really sorry for that. So yeah, so we were telling about the food chain. Have you ever heard about this food chain? So what is food chain? Food chain means it's a linear process through which the food or the energy is transferred from one organism to another. Can someone comment about one example of a food chain? Yes, Lipika and Nirja has said that you have heard about this concept of food chain in your school. So please tell me, what is food chain? So food chain means it's the linear process through which, or the line through which the food or the energy is transferred from one yes, Kartika has said plants, animals, human. Yes, correct. Yes. Let's take a very simple example to understand the food chain. Like for example, grass. Okay, we have the grass, and this grass is eaten by grasshopper. So grass is eaten by grasshopper. I'm just writing the short form because it's very difficult for me to write now. So grasshopper, and the grasshopper is eaten by the frog. Okay. And now a frog is eaten by a snake. So this continues. Okay. This is called food chain. So food chain means this linear process, and we also have food web. Food web is not linear or not unidirectional, it's multi-directional. Like for example, the grass can be eaten by deer. Like again, this grass can be eaten by a deer, and this deer can be eaten by either a tiger or by a human being. Okay, so this when it is multi-directional, it is called a food web. So food web means multi-directional, with like a branches of a tree. There is no linearity. So food chain means it's a linear, a single line. Whereas food web means you will see from here, then again, like the branches of a tree. There will be different branches. One organism can be eaten by different organisms, which in turn eaten by different other organisms. So that is food web, and this is food chain. I hope you got it. So I am getting some examples. Yes. Yes. And Ananya has said grass, gallet, tiger. Yes, correct. Gunjan, grasshopper eating grass. Yes, correct. So you people have some basic understanding about it. I'm very glad about it. Trees, deer, lion, vulture. Correct. Nirja, again you are correct. Correct. Wahida also, many people are commenting and you are coming up with right answers. So yeah, so this is a food chain, and I hope you got the basic difference between what is a food chain and food web. So here we have to understand what is a food chain in order to understand this biomagnification and bioaccumulation. So food chain, as we said, this is a linear transfer or unidirectional transfer. So linear or unidirectional transfer of food from one organism to another. Now, what is bioaccumulation? Bioaccumulation means an increase in the concentration of a persistent pollutant from the environment to organisms in a food chain. Now let's come back to food chain to understand it better. So suppose the grass, there are certain pesticides in the grass. So why do we use pesticides? To kill the pest, or insecticides, for example, so pesticides or some insecticides. Suppose the grass has certain level of pesticides or insecticides which are definitely some pollutants. Now this grass is eaten by the grasshopper. Now what happens? The grasshopper, through this food chain, this pesticides enter the grasshopper, and grasshopper is further eaten by the frog. So while eating this grasshopper, the frog also gets some pollutants in its body. Now it's further eaten by the snake. Now what happens? The frog body has some pollutants which is transferred to the snake. So this is called bioaccumulation. Bioaccumulation means an increase in the concentration of pollutants or persistent pollutant from the environment to the organisms through a food chain. So this is called bioaccumulation. And what is biomagnification? Now, what is meant by this term magnify? Have you have heard of this term magnification or magnify, which means increase. So magnification is increase or the size increases. Now, what does it refers here, or what is the meaning here? The tendency of the pollutants to concentrate as they move from one trophic to the next level. Now here we will see the first trophic level is the grass. Second is grasshopper. Third is frog. Fourth is snake. Now biomagnification means from one level to the next. From grass to grasshopper, then from grasshopper to the frog, then to the snake. So this is transfer of these components from one trophic level to the next level. So biomagnification, this means that the pollutants concentrate as they move from one trophic level to the next. This is biomagnification. Now, how does the biomagnification occurs, or why does biomagnification occurs? That also we will understand. Now, like for example, 1 unit of grass. Suppose it contains, like, let's take some example. This is like just to make you understand. For example, 1 unit of grass, it contains 10 milligram of pollutants. Let's assume so. Now, the grasshopper will eat, suppose 10 units of grass. So what will happen? 10 into 10 milligram, 100 milligram will be accumulated in grasshopper's body. Now the frog, let's assume that the frog eats 20 units of grasshoppers or 20 grasshoppers. What will happen? Into 1 grasshopper has 100 milligram accumulated pollutants. So 100 milligram into 20. So it becomes 2000. Now a snake, suppose a snake eats 4 frogs. So 2000 into 4 milligram, that is 8000 milligram. So as the trophic level increases from one trophic level to the next trophic level, what happens? The pollutants increases or magnifies, which is called biomagnification. I hope you got it. Priyanka is asking me what is the difference between them. Them means bioaccumulation and biomagnification. Do you mean that? Can you just comment once more so that I'll clarify that? Gaurav has commented that increasing species size with their food also. Yes, correct. So increasing species size with the food. Yes. Okay, Priyanka, difference between bioaccumulation and magnification. I hope it is clear now. If not, you can comment again. I'll explain it once more. So if it's clear or not, please comment. Okay, let's move on. Next is hazard and disaster. Okay, yesterday we have already discussed about hazard and disaster, but quickly we will see once more for those who have not attended the classes yesterday. So hazard, it's a dangerous situation or an event that carries a threat to the human beings. Now, what is disaster? It harms the human beings and it disrupts the operations of society. Now, yesterday we saw that every hazard is not a disaster. suppose these are hazards, only a part of the hazards become disasters. Why? Because if a hazard causes some kind of damage to the human beings, only then it becomes a disaster. So that is the difference. Okay. So if suppose this full circle is hazards, only a part of it becomes disaster, and for a hazard to become a disaster, the condition is that it has to harm the human being and disrupt the operations of a society. We have seen examples. For example, flood. So flood is a disaster. The ongoing floods in Assam, it's a disaster. Why? Because it has affected human beings as well as it has affected the operations of a society. The economic activities are interrupted. Agriculture is being destroyed. The industrial activities, the services sector. So economic activities are disrupted, and the disaster has disrupted it. Again, hazard means it not necessarily cause damage to human beings. It definitely carries a threat. So threat and damage. Threat is risk, whereas damage is the actual occurrence of that threat. So that is damage. So hazard means there is lesser damage to human beings, whereas it has some kind of risk. Whereas a disaster is where the actual risk has taken place and it has actually harmed the human being. Now Gaurav is asking me whether cyclone is a disaster. Yes, cyclone is a disaster, or you were giving me an example. Okay, good. Cyclone is a disaster. Yes, Kartika has said that hazard, a current shock. Yes, that is a hazard. If it does not cause a human damage to human being, it's a hazard. Heavy rain is a hazard. Yes. If it causes damage to human being, it becomes a disaster. So not every hazard is a disaster. That is what you have to be clear. Ashwati is asking me whether corona is a disaster. Yesterday also I saw this comment, but sorry I could not answer it yesterday, but today I will answer it. Corona is considered to be a global pandemic. So this is out of the syllabus, but still you have asked me this question, I will answer it. So corona, it's when we say, it has to be said that corona is a pandemic. Now what is a difference between a pandemic and an epidemic? So pandemic and epidemic. So pandemic means a particular infection or a particular disease that has affected many parts. It's not concentrated on just one region or one part of the earth or the world, but pandemic means the presence of the virus or the presence of the infection or the disease is spread across many parts in the world. So corona can be considered as a pandemic. This is how the WHO has termed corona, as a global pandemic. Pandemic means affecting various region, various places. Now let's take an example to understand an epidemic and a pandemic better. So pandemic is COVID-19 because you will see no continent or no country is exempted from it, only very few. So that is why it is called a pandemic. Whereas an epidemics. So it affects only a particular locality or a particular region. For example, have you heard about the Nipah virus which infected few people a few years back, 1 or 2 years back? Have you heard of Nipah virus? So Nipah virus was only an epidemic. Why? We have not heard that Nipah virus has affected the whole world or many region or many countries. So it was concentrated on some parts. So that's why it's an epidemic, and a pandemic means larger area covering various continents, various regions. So this is the definition, or not definition, actually this is how the WHO, World Health Organization, has characterized COVID-19 as. So whoever asks you what is COVID-19, you can simply say that it's a global pandemic. I hope you got it. Now, yeah, coming to deforestation. Deforestation is a very simple term. I'm sure you must have heard it in your maybe 5th, 6th or 7th standard in your school. So deforestation means the felling of trees or damage caused to the forest, or cutting the trees or felling the trees for developmental purposes. It can be for industrialization, for urbanization, or for mining activities. Mining, or for using the wood for domestic and other purposes. So deforestation is nothing but the cutting down of trees. So it is a man-made thing. That is, the human beings, they cut down the trees or fell the trees for some developmental activities or for some urbanization or industrialization or for carrying out any development activities or even for domestic purposes. So this is called deforestation. Now, shifting cultivation. Have you heard about Jhum cultivation or shifting cultivation, which is mostly prevalent among some tribal communities? So, have you heard about it? Jhum cultivation, Jhumming, or Jhum cultivation or shifting cultivation? So, shifting cultivation means a particular piece of land. So, this land is used for cultivation purposes, and what happens after 1 or 2 cropping seasons, what will happen? This particular piece of land, it's fired. So, why? It's a practice. A patch of land is cleared, vegetation is burned, and the ash is mixed with the soil, thus adding nutrients to the soil. So shifting cultivation or Jhum cultivation is also one reason why the soil is losing its fertility, because in Jhum cultivation or under shifting cultivation, a particular piece of land or a patch of land, it's cleared, and then what happens? The vegetation, after clearing the forest or the vegetation, it's burned and the ash is mixed with the soil, and it is believed that this ash will add some nutrients to the soil. But this shifting cultivation will lead to large scale destruction of forest. So for conducting this shifting cultivation, the forest or the vegetation is burned, and then the ash is mixed. So after 1 or 2 cropping season, what will happen? These cultivators, they will move to another piece of land. They will not stick on to that particular land, but they will move to some other land, another piece of land, and where they will again do the same. That is, clearing the vegetation, burning the vegetation, the ash is mixed. So this will lead to large scale deforestation. That is why shifting cultivation is not promoted by the government. And desertification. Next is desertification. Any doubts till now? Any doubts? Okay, if you have any doubts, you can just message me. I will clear the doubts and then we will move on. Next is desertification. So desertification means creation of deserts. Now, how is deserts created? Desert, we know what is a desert. Desert, the characteristic is that there are very less number of trees or vegetation. So, desertification means the destruction of biological potential of a land or the destruction of vegetation, which can ultimately lead to desert-like condition. So, desertification means a particular piece of land or a particular area which turns into desert because of human activities, like destruction of biological potential of that particular land. What are the biological potential of the land? Like, for example, vegetation, growth of vegetation is a biological potential. Rain, receiving rain. So, the biological potential of the land is being destructed, and this will ultimately lead to desert-like conditions. So, ultimately this land will become like a desert, very less vegetation in the land. This is called desertification. Next is afforestation. Afforestation is just exactly the opposite of deforestation, but understand that afforestation and reforestation are different things. What is the basic difference between afforestation and deforestation? The basic difference is that both are planting trees. So, planting of trees, reforestation and afforestation both refers to planting of trees. But the basic difference is that afforestation is done on a particular piece of land which was barren, which means without any vegetation. So, barren land. Whereas reforestation, it is done, or planting of trees are done on particular piece of land in which forest or vegetation existed in the past. Which means earlier this piece of land had vegetation or forest, but it was cleared due to human activities or developmental activities. Now replanting or regenerating the forest or regenerating the plants or vegetation in the area or in the piece of land where already a forest or vegetation existed is called reforestation. So earlier it was a forest or it was covered by vegetation. So this is called reforestation, whereas afforestation means planting trees or sowing the seeds in barren land. Earlier there were no trees there, it was a barren land. So this is the difference between afforestation and reforestation. Many think that these are the same, but not. Now next is dissolved oxygen. This is also again a very important concept. So dissolved oxygen, this means aquatic ecosystems in which oxygen that is dissolved in water. So dissolved oxygen means the amount of oxygen that is O2 dissolved in water. This is dissolved oxygen. And why we are discussing about dissolved oxygen is only to discuss this concept of BOD or biological oxygen demand, which is important for your examination. Now why BOD is important for your examination? Because BOD is a very good indicator, or we can say best indicator to know the pollution level in a water body. Now let me explain to you what is BOD, then you will get an understanding about it, then you have to answer. So this is not going to be a one-way communication, but this is going to be a two-way communication where you will have to give me the answers. So I'll explain to you the concept. Now let's take a water body, let's take a lake. Suppose this is a lake. So there will be microorganisms in this lake for sure. Now there will be microorganisms like algae or fungus, or there will be different kind of microorganisms. Now, how will these microorganisms feed themselves? So these microorganisms are fed by nutrients. So nutrients. Now what is this nutrients actually, which is taken by the microorganisms? So these nutrients, they are the pollutants. So these nutrients are the pollutants. Now BOD means the amount of oxygen required by the microorganisms in the biological process of metabolizing organic matter in water. Now what is this organic matter? Organic matter is the nutrients. So in a water body, let us take the example of a lake. In every water body there will be some kind of microorganisms, and biological oxygen demand refers to the amount of oxygen that is needed by the microorganisms present in a water body to metabolize the organic matter. That is, these nutrients are the organic matter. So to metabolize this nutrients or organic matter, how much amount of oxygen is required by the microorganisms? Now the logic is that if the organic matter is high, that is if the nutrients are high, whether the BOD will be high or low, you have to answer this. Only then the concept will be clear. So you have to tell me if the organic matter or the pollutants, which is the organic matter, if the organic matter in a lake or in any water body is high, the biological oxygen demand of the microorganisms will be high or low. I'll again explain to you the concept. So microorganisms living in a water body, it requires some kind of oxygen, some amount of oxygen in order to metabolize the nutrients or the organic matter. So if the organic matter is high, they will need more or less oxygen. Can someone answer that? So if the organic matter is high or if the pollutants is high, whether these microorganisms need more or less oxygen? More. Priyanka, yes, the microorganisms will need more oxygen. Can someone else also answer? So what is biological oxygen demand? Demand means here the demand is for the microorganisms. The microorganisms need oxygen in order to metabolize the organic matter or the pollutants. So if pollutants are high, they need more oxygen. So biological or biochemical oxygen demand will be high. Yeah, Ashwati, Meenachi, all of them have answered more. Yes, that is correct. More oxygen. So yes, so biological or biochemical oxygen demand will be high if there are more organic matter or more pollutants. Now, if the BOD, that is the biological oxygen demand, BOD, biochemical or biological oxygen demand of a particular water body is high, what does it indicate? It indicates that there is high organic matter. That is why the demand is high. So, organic matter is nothing but pollutants. So that is why I said biochemical oxygen demand is one indicator of the level of pollution in the water body. Because if the BOD is high, it indicates that the pollution level is high. Okay, you got it? Okay. Now next is eutrophication. We have a lot more topics to go. So I will stop with eutrophication and we will continue tomorrow. So next topic is eutrophication. It is again related to BOD only. So eutrophication. Eutrophication means the nutrient enrichment of the lakes which promote the growth of algae, aquatic plants and various fauna which leads to algal blooming. So eutrophication. Eutrophication means nutrient enrichment, that is excess of nutrients in a lake or in a water body. So nutrient here, as I said, it means the pollution level or the organic matter. So when the nutrients are high, what will happen? There will be, suppose you are taking your intake of nutrients is high, so your growth will also be proportionately high. So eutrophication means the growth of algae, aquatic plants. We are discussing about water body. That is why algae, aquatic plants and various fauna in the water body or in the lake will increase because of higher nutrients available in the water body. So this leads to eutrophication and this leads to algal blooming. Algal blooming means blooming, or in the spring season what happens? Many flowers bloom. Like that in the lakes, the algae or algal blooming will happen because of the excessive availability of nutrients or otherwise the pollutants in the water body, and this is called eutrophication. And tell me whether eutrophication is good or bad. You may think that the excess availability of nutrients in the water body, it's good for the organisms that live in the water. Yes, it's good for them, algae, aquatic plants, etc. But what happens for the human beings? It's not good. Why? If there is eutrophication in a lake or if in a water body, this water becomes polluted water and then unfit for consumption by human beings. You cannot drink the water from a lake which has excess nutrients. Nutrients means these pollutants. So these pollutants will help in the growth of algae, aquatic plants, etc. The growth of microorganisms in the water body. But these excessive microorganisms or algae found in the water body makes it unfit for human consumption, and that is why in many cities, I'll give you a very good example of eutrophication. In Bangalore, there were many newspaper articles related to this recently, that the lakes in Bangalore, they are highly polluted and the rate of eutrophication is very high. Now, what is the reason? The discharge of untreated waste from the industries and also especially from the pharmaceuticals, the hospitals, the medical sector, from the healthcare sector, the waste is not treated. The waste is not treated and it's disposed into the water bodies, especially the lakes, and this has made the water in the lakes unfit for human consumption. Human beings cannot drink it, but the aquatic organisms or microorganisms in the lakes or water bodies will grow, but it will be unfit for human consumption. So this is the example. Ananya Chavan has asked me to read her comment. Yeah, Ananya, please use Hindi. I am basically from South India and I'm not very fluent in Hindi, but I'll try to use some Hindi words also in between if possible. And if somebody needs me to be a little more slow or fast, you can comment so that the pace of the classes can be accordingly done. So, I thought of completing the entire key terms, but it did not happen. But tomorrow definitely we will finish it. But I think I'm going slow because these are all the basic terms and you need to be very clear with this basic terms. That's why I'm going a little slow. Which book is best for this topic? I will not recommend you to go through any books. Why? Because see, in paper 1 this is only 1 unit, so it will be sufficient. You can take the lecture notes from my class and that will suffice, because there is no need to buy a particular book for this. I will be explaining each and every topic, subtopic in your syllabus. So I think the lecture notes will be sufficient for you. You can also go through the previous year question papers to understand the pattern, but we will be going through. I will help you to solve the previous year papers. We will discuss the previous year papers. Once we are done with the syllabus, we will do previous year papers so that you will be more confident. So I think that will be fine. No need to go for a particular book, and speed is fine. Priyanka has commented. Thank you, Priyanka. So I think tomorrow we will continue with the basic topics, or sorry, the basic terminologies, the key terminologies. So I think we will end the session now. Any doubts or any queries, please comment fast. And you can subscribe to our channel if you have not subscribed yet. So you can subscribe and also press the bell icon, and you will be notified whenever we upload a video. I hope these videos are helpful for your preparation, and please do share it in your groups, share it with your friends also, so that they can also join the live classes and they will also be benefited. So I will see you again. Yeah, one more thing, that yesterday some of you asked me like whether the timing is fixed or not. So I had a discussion with the team, and the timing is fixed. From every day from 7 to 8 we will have a live session. Sometimes it can go up to 1 or 1.5 hours, but most of the days it will be like 45 minutes to 1 hour. So every day we will meet at 7 o'clock for this live classes. So please do share this video with your friends if you have found it helpful. Thank you so much. See you again tomorrow. Study well. Take care. All of you stay safe. Thank you. Hello friends, good evening and welcome to DigiiMento. So let's start with today's classes. Before that, we are providing online coaching for GATE, NTA, UGC, NET and PGT Computer Science. So you can visit our website www.digimento.com, or you can call to any of these numbers for getting more information about the online courses that we provide. So let's begin. So we are dealing with Unit 9, People Development and Environment, from your paper 1. So from your paper 1 syllabus, we are dealing with Unit 9. Last day we have already covered some of the basic terminologies. So we were learning some of the basic terminologies from environment and ecology. So we will be continuing with that, and with today's lecture we will be completing the basic terminology. So with this lecture we will complete all the basic terminologies, which will give you a basic understanding. And this also we discussed the syllabus of the Unit 9. So we have gone through all of them. Just recapping. And yes, yesterday we started with the terms and terminologies, important ones, just glancing through them once more. So we have seen what is ecology. We said that it is a scientific study of relationship of the living organisms with each other and also with their environment. And second one, we have seen what is habitat. We also discussed what is the difference between habitat and niche, ecological niche. We also learned about the concept of environment, which comprises of both biotic and abiotic components. So this is a quick recap. I'll just take 2 minutes to recap all the terms we learned yesterday, just to refresh everything. And next is ecosystem. Ecosystem, it's a community of living beings and physical environment in which they interact each other. And we also saw that environment is a broader concept and ecosystem is a narrower concept compared to environment. We already saw what is an ecological niche and the difference between niche and habitat. So niche is functional role of an organism, that is the specific or the unique functional role of an organism in a community is called niche. And we also saw what is a biome. We discussed the examples like the desert is one biome which has a specific characteristic like climate, vegetation, animal life, etc. is different in different biomes. So desert is a kind of biome. Tropical rainforest is another biome. So we have seen all that yesterday. Then biosphere. Biosphere means a part of the earth where all the atmosphere, lithosphere and also the hydrosphere interact and integrate. So where there is life. Bio means life, and the part of the earth where all the three components of the atmosphere, lithosphere and hydrosphere interact with each other, that is biosphere. We also saw bioaccumulation and biomagnification. We also here discussed about the concept of what is a food chain. So we understood what is food chain and how is food chain related with biomagnification and bioaccumulation. So what is bioaccumulation and what is biomagnification, and how a food chain plays a very important role in bioaccumulation and biomagnification. That also we understood yesterday. Then we have discussed about what is a hazard and what is a disaster, and what is a difference between both of them, hazard and a disaster. We also understood what is deforestation, and we discussed about shifting cultivation. I also told you that shifting cultivation is also called jum cultivation in some places, jumming or jum cultivation. We saw what is desertification. What is the difference between deforestation and desertification also we saw. Deforestation is simply cutting down the trees, whereas desertification means due to the anthropogenic activities, a land is becoming desert-like conditions existing in a land because of human interference, because of destruction. And we saw what is the difference between afforestation and reforestation. So afforestation is basically when trees are planted on barren land. So when a land has no vegetation and where trees are planted, it is called afforestation. Whereas reforestation means a land in which trees already existed or vegetation already existed. So again, planting the trees is called reforestation. Then this concept of BOD also we discussed yesterday in very detail. I hope you remember it. BOD, biochemical oxygen demand. And remember that when the BOD is high, it shows that the pollution level is also very high. So this is how BOD is a very good indicator of pollution level in a water body. And then eutrophication, that is addition of nutrients into a water body. And eutrophication, if the rate of eutrophication is high, then the water becomes unfit for human consumption. So that also we have seen yesterday. And yeah, so today we will begin with wetlands, mangroves and coral reef. But before that, let me see if you are watching this live, can you send me a hi? Okay, so I think we will start. So today we are discussing about the other terminologies, and with today's lecture we will come to an end with regard to all the terms and terminologies. So hello everyone, let's start. So first one is wetlands. You might have heard about wetlands. So can someone quickly give me some examples of wetlands? What is wetland? Wetlands means some intermediate areas. So intermediate means an area which is in between two particular areas. So intermediate. So intermediate means between two. So what is this two? One is a terrestrial ecosystem. Another one is a aquatic ecosystem. So an intermediate area between a terrestrial and an aquatic ecosystem is called a wetland. So the nature of wetlands will be transitional, which means they will not completely have the characteristics of an aquatic ecosystem. Examples of aquatic ecosystem is rivers, lakes, oceans. So all these are aquatic ecosystem. Whereas terrestrial ecosystem means deserts or forest. So all these are terrestrial ecosystem. Now, wetlands means the areas which are intermediate in character, which means which will not typically have the character of a terrestrial ecosystem and also not of an aquatic ecosystem, in between both of this. So that is why these habitats have a transitional nature, and they are located between them. Now can you give me some examples of wetlands? Somebody in the comments, can someone give me examples? A very good example is paddy field. It's a wetland. So paddy field. Then marshy lands, marshy lands. Now again another very good example is mangroves. Mangroves is also a wetland. So wetlands are basically transitional areas which have a transitional nature between the character between a deep water and terrestrial habitat or terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem. So that is what is called a wetland. So my idea was only to give you a basic idea about wetlands, and wetlands are very important as we move forward with this syllabus, because we have to learn a lot of things, international agreements related to wetlands, and also some of the important wetland spots in India. So we have to learn all that. Now I hope you got the idea of what is a wetland. Now, what is mangroves? Mangroves are very, very important. The ecological or the environmental benefit of mangroves is very high, and that's why the government is focusing on mangrove protection. So, what is mangroves? Mangroves are trees or bushes growing below the high water level of spring tides, which exhibit remarkable capacity for salt water tolerance. Now, I'm sure you did not understand what it is. If you do not have a background, I'm sure you have not understand it well. So mangroves is nothing, but these are some kind of trees and bushes which are highly tolerant. For example, mangroves also, as we said, this is also a kind of wetland. This is also a example of a wetland. Now, what did we say about the wetlands? We said that these are transitional zones or transitional areas between a terrestrial and an aquatic ecosystem. So basically mangroves, they are wetlands, and these mangroves are kind of trees and bushes which grow on this wetland. And the characteristic of these trees and bushes is that they are highly tolerant. I will give you an example to make it very clear. For example, certain trees and bushes during the time of flood or during the time of tsunami, certain trees and bushes, they are highly tolerant that they will not fail. So the advantage is that they will protect the mainland or the terrestrial ecosystem from such kind of disasters. So that is the importance of these mangroves. So these are trees and bushes which are highly tolerant. Okay, now next one is coral reef. Again, Lipika has commented that mangroves breathe through the roots also. Yes, correct. So coral reefs. Coral reefs again is very, very important topic. Very important actually. In most of the exams, coral reefs are asked because of its importance and also because of the contemporary importance of coral reef. So we will be looking into detail of coral reefs. So coral reef basically refers to the symbiotic relationship of coral with zooxanthal microscopic algae. Now, what is meant by a symbiotic relationship? Symbiotic relationship means that mutual relationship, or we can say mutualism. So mutualism or mutual relationship means two individuals or two organisms. It need not be individuals, but two organisms, they are benefited from each other. Now, in this example of coral reef, it is a symbiotic relationship or a mutualism relationship between corals and microscopic algae, which is called zooxanthal. So they have a symbiotic relationship, which means corals are benefited from this algae and the algae is benefited from the corals. Now, let's first see what is a coral reef. So basically a coral reef, it's a colony of tiny living creatures which are found in oceans. So they are tiny living creatures found in the ocean ecosystem. And these coral reefs are also underwater structures. They are found below the sea level. So underwater structures, and these coral reef, how is this reef formed? So these reef, they are formed of coral polyps. So I'll write it down. Coral polyps. So these are formed by coral polyps that are held together by calcium carbonate structures. Now, some of the important characteristics of coral reefs, very important for your examination. I will write them. Okay, so one characteristic, I'll just write it here so that I get enough space. So one important characteristic that you have to keep in mind for your examination about the coral reef is that they are considered to be tropical rainforest of the sea or of the oceans. So when we come to ocean ecosystem, they are considered to be tropical rainforest. Now, let us think about the characters of a tropical rainforest. What are the characteristics of a tropical rainforest? One thing, can you tell me what are the characters of a tropical rainforest? One thing is that the vegetation or the biodiversity, we can say biodiversity. The biodiversity in the tropical rainforest is very high. That is because of high level of, we are talking about a tropical rainforest in a terrestrial ecosystem. So because of high levels of rainfall and the temperature, because of the appropriate conditions, the biodiversity in the tropical rainforest are very high. Now coral reefs are considered to be the tropical rainforest of the ocean or the sea. So what does it mean? It means that the biodiversity of the coral reefs are very high. So this is the first point that you have to keep in mind. Biodiversity of the coral reefs are very high. Now the second point is that they occupy only 0.1% of the total ocean surface. So a very minute 0.1% of total ocean surface is occupied by the coral reef. But they have almost 25% of the marine species. That is why we said the biodiversity is very high in the coral reefs. So even though they occupy only a 0.1% of the total surface of the ocean, they have about 25% of the marine species, which means the biodiversity in the coral reefs are very, very high. And also there are certain conditions. Again, I will have to write it. Okay. Okay. So again, some of the characteristics or some of the conditions needed for the growth of coral reefs. So first condition is that some temperature. So moderate temperature is required. First one is that moderate temperature is required. Also, what kind of water is required? Shallow but clear water. So these are the favorable conditions for the growth of coral reefs. I hope you are making your own lecture notes, and I told you in the beginning, if you are making some lecture notes and revising it, this would be sufficient for you to learn the syllabus from unit 9. So this will be sufficient. So please make sure that you understand what I teach in the class, and in case if you have any doubts, you can comment. I will answer to it. And also please make your lecture notes so that you can revise it later. Now, second favorable condition that is required for the growth of coral reef is that they require shallow but clear water. So, shallow, clear water is required for the growth of coral reefs. Now, again, can someone tell me the biggest coral reef, where it is found? I'm looking for some comments. Can someone tell me which is the biggest coral reef that is found? Yes, Neerja has again commented that in Australia. Yes, Neerja, can you tell me the name of the reef in Australia? Can someone else try telling me what is the name of the biggest reef? Not Maldives, it's in Australia, and it is called the Great Barrier Reef. So the Great Barrier Reef in Australia is the biggest coral reef found, and it is 1500 miles long. So this is the length. So 1500 miles long. Okay. So this is the largest one. This is the biggest coral reef found. So Great Barrier Reef. Please remember the name Great Barrier Reef. Okay, so I hope there is no doubt with coral reefs, mangroves and wetlands. Very, very important. If you have any doubts, can you please put them on the comments? Okay, let's continue. And in between, if you have any doubts, please don't forget to comment. I will definitely answer your queries. So let's continue. Next terminology is pollution. Yeah, Meenakshi has commented that the Great Barrier Reef. Correct answer, Great Barrier Reef of Australia. This is the largest one. Yes. Next topic is pollution. Next term is pollution. So what is pollution? You have all heard about this. I'm sure you have all heard about what is pollution. Maybe from your 5th class, or even younger children these days are very much familiar with this term pollution. So can someone tell me what is pollution? It's addition or excessive addition of certain materials to the physical environment. So when we were getting familiarized with the syllabus, we said that there are different types of pollution. It can be water pollution, it can be soil pollution, it can be air pollution, again it can be noise pollution, then various other forms of pollution. Okay, so pollution means addition of some materials that is not required, or some dangerous materials, or some kind of pollutants, we can say pollutants into the environment, and which is unfit. So what are pollutants? So pollutants are the materials or the factors which cause adverse effect on natural quality of any component of the environment. So pollutants are basically those substances or those components which cause a negative impact or an adverse impact on the environment, and which deteriorate the quality of the environment. So these are called pollutants. So addition of pollutants into the environment, this process of addition of pollutants into the environment is called pollution. So this is pollution. So pollution and pollutants, I hope it is clear. Next is bioremediation. Again, very important. So pollution and pollutants, it's a very common term, but bioremediation. So can someone tell me what is bioremediation? Please do not look into the slide. You will understand. I have put it in simple language. But from your understanding, can somebody tell me what is bioremediation? It was in the newspapers recently for many reasons. So I'll explain what is bioremediation. Bioremediation means, let us first take an example. Suppose a lake. I'm not sure if it's visible for you. Okay. Suppose a lake. Yesterday we discussed about some lakes in Bangalore which are highly polluted. So let's take one such lake. So what did we say? The addition of nutrients into the water bodies is called eutrophication. So did we say that yesterday? Addition of nutrients into the water body is called eutrophication. Okay. So through eutrophication, this lake is highly polluted. Now, what has to be done? As we said, when the level of eutrophication increases, the lake or any water body, we are taking here the example of a lake. So any water body, it gets polluted and it becomes unfit for human consumption. So we cannot consume the water directly. We cannot consume the water, not even drinking. We cannot even use it for any other purpose without treating that water. So treatment is very important. So bioremediation is a kind of treatment done to polluted water bodies. So in not only water bodies, it can be any kind of pollutants, but mostly in water bodies or soil, bioremediation is done, and it is done by using certain microorganisms like the bacteria or fungi to degrade the environmental contaminants into less toxic forms. So let us come back to our examples where we discussed about the lake. So we said that in this particular lake, because of eutrophication, there is excess pollutants. So it's not fit for human consumption. So what has to be done? It has to be made fit for human consumption. And for that, what can be done? To make it fit for human consumption, we have to remove the pollutants, or what we call as contaminants. So contaminants has to be removed from the water body, and this removal of the contaminants from the water body using microorganisms like bacteria or fungi is called bioremediation. So it's nothing, you are using some microorganisms to remove the contaminants or the pollutants from a water body or from any kind of body. It can be land or water. To remove the contaminants, if microorganisms are used, it's called bioremediation. Very, very important. Why? Because these days the use of microorganisms or the bioremediation is increasing. So this remedy the usage of this remedy or solution to remove the pollutants it's on high, and also especially in the water bodies these days it's being used frequently. So it's very, very important. Now next term is biodiversity. Now what is biodiversity? We have already said what is biodiversity when we discussed about the coral reef. So when we discussed about coral reef, we said what is biodiversity in some brief. Can someone try answering? Okay, so if we divide this term biodiversity into two, we get two terms. One is bio and another one is diversity. Now, what is meant by the term bio? Bio means life and diversity means diverse. So, multiplicity or diverse, versatility we can say. So, versatility and life. So, bio means life or anything which has life, whereas diversity means diverse. Now, biodiversity means the variability among living organisms from all sources, including diversity within species. Now, this is important. So, biodiversity means the variety of organisms living in an ecosystem. This is called biodiversity. And the most diverse ecosystem, can you give me the examples of the most diverse ecosystem? We have already discussed. When we come to tropical rainforest, they are hugely biodiverse because we can see many type of organisms or species. Now, second one, when we come to ocean ecosystem or marine ecosystem, coral reefs are one ecosystem where we can see high biodiversity. That means many varieties of plants and animals or many varieties of life. Life means living organisms. Okay. Now, here the point is that the variability among the living organisms from all sources, including diversity within the species. So, within the species also, we can see diversity. For example, can you give me some example of diversity within the species? Somebody? Yes, Amazon rainforest is a very good example where we have huge biodiversity, correct? Nirja, you are answering very well. I'm so happy for that. Within species diversity. So can you give me some examples of within species diversity? Okay, let us see lion. So lion is a kind of species, but in different places we will see different kinds of lion. For example, there is Asiatic lion. Okay, so Asiatic lion is found only in India, where in Gir forest in Gujarat. Okay, so within one species also we can see diversity. Within species, between species and between ecosystems. So these are the three forms of biodiversity. One is within the species, second one is between the species, and third one between the ecosystem. Yes, different kinds of fishes. Yes, that is another example. Biodiversity ka example, ek और example है. Or we'll come to greenhouse effect. So what is greenhouse effect? You must be hearing this term for long in the newspapers, in the media. So this is one topic that is widely discussed all throughout the media for last several years. So greenhouse effect. Now, let us first understand this concept. Okay, greenhouse effect. Now, have you ever seen some agricultural activities taking place where the four sides will be covered with some kind of green color fabric? Have you ever seen that? Or have you heard about the effect, greenhouse effect? So what does it mean? It means that within this house or greenhouse, the heat is being trapped. So trapping of heat. This is greenhouse effect. So it's a naturally, when we talk about greenhouse effect in our ecology classes, it's a naturally occurring phenomena, and that blankets the Earth's lower atmosphere and warms it and maintains the temperature suitable for living things to survive. So greenhouse effect is nothing but the atmosphere, lower atmosphere is being blanketed, or heat is trapped. But what is the problem of greenhouse effect? When the temperature rises, it will lead to increase in temperature, which will cause climate change. Okay. So greenhouse effect means trapping of heat within the Earth's atmosphere. But when the greenhouse effect increases, what will happen? The temperature of the Earth will increase, leading to climate change. So there are several greenhouse gases like the CO2, which increases the temperature. So which will lead to climate change. So basically we need some percentage of heat or some degree of heat for survival, but when the temperature increases, it causes negative impact on the Earth's atmosphere. So this is the concept of greenhouse effect. Okay. Now next is carbon credit, which is related to Kyoto Protocol, which we will be discussing later in the series of lectures itself. We will see what is Kyoto Protocol. So carbon credit. Carbon credit is a tradable certificate, or it's a permit representing the right to emit 1 ton of carbon or carbon dioxide equivalent. So it's a trading certificate. So carbon credit means it's a kind of carbon trading. We will see in detail what is carbon trading later in this series. We have to learn about carbon trading. So when you trade something, what is meant by trade? Trade means purchase and sale. These are the two components of a trade. So you purchase something or either you sell something. So here under carbon trading, what is being purchased or what is being sold? It is carbon or CO2 equivalent, carbon dioxide equivalent. And carbon credit means it's a tradable certificate or a permit. So you will get this idea clear only once we discuss about the Kyoto Protocol, and then we discuss in detail about carbon trading. So let us keep it here. So not going into much details, because unless you understand the background of this international agreement, you will not understand what is carbon credit and how it is being done. So I'm not going into the details. Now we will discuss two very important concepts, and with that we will come to the end of this session. So today's session is a little shorter session, because we will finish all the important terms and terminologies in ecology, and tomorrow we will come to the syllabus. We will start with Millennium Development Goals and Sustainable Development Goals. Please do not miss the lectures. So we will be going in that order itself. There are 7 subunits. So we will complete all the subunits in that order itself. So don't miss any of them. And also please do share these classes with your friends also, and ask them to join for the live sessions from tomorrow onwards. So you can invite your friends or whoever is preparing for this examination, whoever is in your contacts, you can share it with them, and also ask them to join for the session from tomorrow onwards if they have missed it today. So 2 more important concepts. One is agroforestry and another one is farm forestry. Now first one, agroforestry. Second is farm forestry. Now why we are discussing both these terms is because I have seen many people who uses these terms interchangeably, but these two are entirely different concepts, and you should know what is the difference. So agroforestry. Agroforestry is an integrated approach of using the interactive benefits from combining trees and shrubs along with crops and livestock. So agroforestry, we can divide it into 2 terms. One is agro. Second one is forestry. Agro plus forestry. Now, first term is agro. So, what is the meaning of agro? It means agriculture. So, agriculture is an economic activity where we cultivate crops or we rear the livestock. So, agriculture is an economic activity, and here agro means agriculture. Second one is forestry. You know what is a forest or what is forestry? Planting of trees and shrubs. So, the combination of agriculture and forestry is called agroforestry, which means, for example, you have a piece of land. So you are carrying out economic activities, that is agricultural activity. Suppose you are carrying out agricultural activity in this piece of land, but along with that you have decided that you will plant some trees, some shrubs, etc. along with cultivation or along with rearing of animals or cattle, along with agricultural and allied activities. Suppose you have decided to plant some forest or plant some trees and shrubs, then this is called agroforestry. So here the primary importance is given to agriculture, but along with agriculture, forestry or creation of a forest is also done. So this is agroforestry. I hope you got it. Agriculture plus forestry. So primary importance given to agriculture, but along with that some forest is being produced or some trees are being planted. So this is agroforestry. Second one is farm forestry. Now, planting of commercial trees on farm bunds. This is farm forestry. Now, in agroforestry, along with agriculture or along with cattle rearing like livestock or cultivation of crops, we were planting some trees. But coming to farm forestry, the difference is that here the growing of trees, they are commercial trees. Now, what is meant by commercial trees? Commercial trees means the trees which has a commercial interest for its cultivation. So there is a commercial intention. For example, trees like teak, bamboo, or some other examples. Can you give me some commercial trees examples? So these trees like mahogany is another example which is used for making furnitures. So farm forestry means growing of commercial trees on farm bunds. So here these trees have a commercial nature, which means that these can be sold. Later these trees can be sold and certain income can be derived out of planting these trees. So this is called farm forestry. So I hope the idea of farm forestry and also agroforestry and the difference between both of them are clear for you. So this is agroforestry and this is farm forestry. So these are also very important because these agroforestry and farm forestry is also gaining importance these days. Government is also promoting farm forestry and agroforestry. So as it is gaining importance and also because these are in the news frequently, it can be asked in your examination. So with this, we have come to an end of basic terminologies. So please do not think that all the terms and terminologies are done, but basic terms. So this my intention was only to give you an idea regarding some basic terms and terminologies. So from next class onwards, we will be coming to the core syllabus, and as you know these basic terms, you will be feeling it more easier to understand the upcoming lectures. So what you can do, this is the homework for you from yesterday's class and from today's class. I'm sure you have written your lecture notes. Tomorrow, before you attend the class, make sure that you have gone through your lecture notes once or twice or until you understand the concept. So if you understand the basic terms very well, then we can proceed with the lectures from tomorrow in a little more faster pace. If you feel that I'm wasting a lot of time like this, please don't think that this is a wastage of time. Understanding the basic concepts and terms is very important. That is why I was taking some time to make you understand and make this thing clear. So if you have any queries, please do comment. I will wind up the session after addressing all your queries. So Lipika has asked me to give some example of carbon trading. So I will give you an example of carbon trading. Okay. For example, US, United States of America. So this is a developed country, we know. Let us take, for example, another country. Let us take a very small country, Maldives. Okay, US is a developed economy. It's a developed country and the industrial activities will be also very high. Okay. Now, Maldives being a smaller economy, their industrial activities or commercial activities or economic activities will be lesser in relationship to or in comparison to US. So, I hope somebody has again commented to use yellow color. So, I am also confused now. Okay, I'll use green color. Okay. If it works, tell me. Otherwise, we can change it again. Okay, so let's come back. So, US is a developed economy. Maldives is a lesser developed economy. And US is highly industrialized, whereas Maldives is lesser industrialized. Commercial activities are lesser. Also, the economic activities are lesser as compared to US. I hope this much is clear for you. Now, we have to learn about the international agreements, but we are not going into these international agreements now. We will discuss about it later, but understand that under certain international agreements, every country has got its limit of carbon emission. So, US will be given certain limit, and if the country emits carbon more than the limit, then certain penalties will be there. So, for Maldives also, there will be certain limits. Okay. So, for Maldives also certain limit is given for carbon emission. But Maldives being a smaller country, being a less industrialized country, suppose Maldives has used only half of its emission permit. So, half is used and half is not used. So, what Maldives can do? They can trade the remaining with other countries that are in need of it. So, Maldives trades or sells these carbon credits. So, this remaining is called carbon credit. Okay. So, this carbon credits are sold to US by Maldives. Now, instead of this carbon credits, what US will give back Maldives? US will give some technology, technical assistance and financial assistance to Maldives in order to bring in or in order to develop some technology to combat climate change or to reduce the carbon emissions. So, this is called carbon trading. Just giving you an example. I hope this is clear for you now. If not, we will come to the details of it in the upcoming lectures. Definitely, I will go into all the details because this is a separate topic which you have to learn in detail. So, we will definitely be going into the details. Don't worry about it. I hope now it's a little more clear for you. If yes, Lipika, please tell me if it is clear or not. And others also you can comment if it's clear for you or not. And also I am waiting for any queries from your side. I'm taking up the doubts and queries from your side. I'll wait for like 1 or 2 minutes. You can comment your queries from today's and yesterday's lectures. So if you have any doubts, please post it. I will answer them. And how is your preparations going? Are you all doing well? And I hope you all are staying fine, staying well. And in my place now, there is a lockdown going on. So, it's a little difficult to go out and things are a little hard here. So, I hope you are all staying safe. So, Lipika has commented, it's clear. Thank you, Lipika. And if anybody else have certain doubts, any clarifications required, please do comment. I will clarify your doubts and then we will end the session. So please comment if you have any doubts. Anybody? Nirja, Meenakshi, Shama, Gokul. Anybody with any doubts? Sharavana, Puviri, Karthik, Rahul, Harsha, Ashwati, Shama, Vishnu, anybody, any doubts? So, I hope no doubts. Okay, great. So, I hope it's clear for you. Let's wind up today's lecture. And as I said, please do subscribe to our channel if you have not yet subscribed. Also, press the bell icon and share this video with your friends and also tell them to join for our live classes from tomorrow. So that they will also be benefited from these classes. So, I'll see you again tomorrow the same time, 7 p.m. So until then, keep revising, keep studying, be positive and continue your preparations. It's a very good opportunity, a golden opportunity for you. You do not have any other disturbances or any kind of distractions from the external world. Like otherwise you will feel like going for a movie, going out with your friends. So you do not have any kind of distractions. So make use of this opportunity, study really well, and also keep revising whatever is taught in the class, and also paper 2, that is your subject, so your area of expertise, keep revising that also. So stay safe. I will see you again tomorrow. Thank you.